Welcome to Session 4. Again, my name is Nikki Broughton, and we hope that all of the resources and information that we've presented to you over the last 3 sessions have been helpful to you as you raise your child with autism. Now, to review, if you have not yet gone through sessions 1 through 3, I highly recommend viewing those before starting session 4. We've geared each session to build off of each other, so it would be the most beneficial for you to view each session in order. Again, in session 1, we talked about how to have a healthy mindset in approaching your child with autism. In session 2, we discussed the first things, which were things like getting the official diagnosis, medications, eating habits, and sensory needs. In session 3, we covered the topic of the power of routine, how setting healthy and realistic schedules and routines provide peace for your home. We shared with you the great importance of good communication and how to plan successful outings when you travel or go to events. Now, as a reminder, our mission of Autism Moms Club is to succeed at raising a child with autism without feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or defeated. Our desire as we start session 4 is to continue to help you to achieve that. In session 4, we are covering the topic of resources and help. Raising a child with autism is a journey that is not meant to be traveled alone. Help is available to you. It's up to you to reach out and find the resources and help that your child needs. There are also resources and help that your child's caregiver can benefit from. There are specialists out there that know how to help you and your child in the specific needs that you have. And these specialists and the resources that are going to be shared with you in this session are not to be feared. And a lot of these resources and therapies that we'll mention in this section are low in cost or may be covered by your insurance or may even be completely free. In this first lesson, we'll be talking specifically about speech therapy. As all of you know, the autism spectrum is huge. Some people with the autism diagnosis will never be able to be verbal. Others with autism are highly verbal to the point where you can't get them to stop talking. I don't know of a spectrum that is more huge or more diverse than the autism spectrum. So, why would someone with autism benefit from speech therapy? If your child is nonverbal, then speech therapy can help with things like communication in other ways than verbal. It can help with increasing nonverbal communication in ways that others will understand. It also helps in how to communicate in useful and functional ways. If your child is verbal, then speech therapy can benefit your child in ways like how to communicate more effectively, how to have give and take in relational communication, and how to understand someone else's nonverbals. And the last one, how to handle yourself better in social communication. Our son started speech therapy when he was in the 2nd grade. At the time, he was verbal, however, he had a hard time pronouncing his W's and his R's correctly in speech. He also had a lot of struggles with social communication. He would answer other people's questions when they came up to talk to him, but he would not give them eye contact. He would also give short answers and responses to others if they interacted with him, but there was no give and take in his dialogue. If others approached our son and said, "Hi, Grayson, how are you today?" he would look at his shoes and say, "Good," and that was the end of the conversation. No eye contact, no give and take by asking the other person how they are doing. Conversations were extremely short and sweet. Now, this is not an effective way to communicate in real life or in relation to others. So our son's school provided speech therapy for him at his school during his school day with a speech therapist. It was no cost to us. It was free, and they met with him during his normal school day, so we didn't have to drive him anywhere before or after school. His speech therapist helped him to learn how to shape his mouth and tongue to start saying his W and R sounds correctly. Within a month of therapy, he was making correct sounds with his words. The speech therapist also helped him with his social skills and language. The therapist would put a picture of a boy and a girl on the table in front of our son. Then the therapist would ask our son a question. Our son would look down at the table when he would answer the therapist's question. The therapist would ask our son, "Did these children ask you the question?" And he would say, "No." And she would say, "Who asked you the question?" And he would respond, "You." And then she would say, "When answering a question, you need to look at the person that asked you the question." She kept repeating this process with him, and after several sessions, our son stopped looking down when talking with others and started looking at the therapist when he was talking to her. After the therapist finally started to have our son's attention, she started working on nonverbal skills with him. Once she got our son to look at her in the face, she would make her face look happy, sad, confused, angry, other emotions. She would say, "Grayson, look at my face. How do I look today?" And he had to guess what nonverbal emotion she was displaying to him. After his eye contact, nonverbal understanding, and social skills and communication started to improve, they added another student to our son's speech class. This son was a friend of our son's that was in the same grade. The speech therapist worked with both of them in order to increase the social skills of give and take in communication. It was a win-win for both of them because our son's friend was highly relational. However, he needed help with word formation and vocabulary, and our son needed the help with his relational skills. So with speech therapy, our son learned how to form his mouth and tongue in ways to pronounce letters and words correctly. He learned how to give eye contact when communicating. He learned how to read nonverbal communication. He learned how to have give and take in communication. All of these were things that he was having a hard time learning and that we were having a hard time teaching our son at home. He needed outside help and more resources than we were providing him ourselves. So, as we finish this lesson, think about what resources might help your child. Is your child verbal or nonverbal? What things might your child benefit from with speech therapy? And if the timing is right for your child, check to see what therapies might be available in order to help meet with your child. Do those things before our next session.